join us live this Saturday morning for actually check this, EA and Tobosh. We'll be doing a Mavs pregame show.
What?
What
are you trying to be?
But the people asked for it, so we're going to give it to them. We're going to do a Mavs pregame show before the game at 10 o'clock in the morning. And then we'll have post game after the game live on our YouTube channel.
Breakfast with Walt.
Yeah, there you go. Breakfast with Walt. There you go, right there. That's a good selling point. It's good marketing. But we got at Tobosh T in here. He just joined us in the studio. The number's about to go through the roof. But joining us right now is a good friend of mine and Tobosh's, and now apparently EA is trying to claim him because EA works at.
We both frequent a great station, our Marconi Award station, that you put down all the time.
I don't put down. I give you guys a lot of plugs. Yeah, well, some station that EA works at. What's that?
1310 a ticket. Marconi Award winning. Get it right.
Okay, and Mark Followill does
the Mavericks post game show with Justin Montemayor and Brian Damaris, and of course they'll be there Saturday post game after the game. Right on the AC Plaza, the little fishbowl studio.
Okay.
Everything there. They'll be right after the game. Turn on the ticket. You'll hear the post game.
And right there, that's right there in the plaza, a little window. Right, that's right there in between. Right. Is that in between Hero? That's right there in between Hero.
Next to Heroes.
Right.
Yeah.
So joining us live now is the play-by-play announcer for the Dallas Mavs, Mr. Mark Followill. How you doing today, man? Well, first off, I got a question. I got a serious question for you, man. I just asked you a few minutes ago.
Question. We're start like that, huh?
Who's booking this crap over there? Okay. Why am I having to come to the arena at 12 o'clock on a Saturday watch the Mavs take care of these Utah Jazz? Okay, that means I got to be there at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning. Who's booking this?
Yeah, man, we got to talk to the NBA about that one.
Yeah, I need to get somebody on the phone over. This is ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous.
The Stars are playing Saturday night.
Oh God!
So that took Saturday night out of the equation.
Well, I'll tell you this: the producer who got you in here, she's going to be at that Star game, so it's her fault also that we got to come in there because she's going to the game on Saturday night.
And I am damn proud to say it.
Yeah, whatever. Mark Followill will join us today. I know you were back there at practice today. I heard you and Callie chopping it up back there in the back. But I want to get your thoughts. What's going to happen? I guess I'm not going to ask you directly. Is Luka going to play? Because we know how that's going to turn out. But what are your thoughts about Luka and the Utah Jazz series, honestly?
Well, my answer about Luka is I'm like everybody else. I mean, I think the Mavs legitimately don't know. So, here's how the timeline's going to go down.
Yeah.
Tomorrow afternoon, there will be I got to stop looking at myself in the background of you guys because it's really distracting. It's like I'm talking and then I'm seeing myself move about a half second later.
It's like looking at a mirror, right?
Okay, so tomorrow there will be an injury report that will be released. And I think that the deadline for that is 5. They may end up doing it earlier, we'll see. But in any event, they're not practicing tomorrow. There won't be immediate availability. So, we won't hear Jay Kidd say, that Luka's in good spirits tomorrow, as we've heard him say in the last 3 days.
Shots fired at my coach.
So, and there's obviously 5 things that can be on the injury report as it relates to his status. Available, probable, questionable, doubtful, and out. And 4 of those are pretty clear what they're conveying. Available and probable, and doubtful and out. The question will be, if he's questionable, what does that mean? And I think what that means is that he's legitimately questionable. And on Saturday morning, he'll go through a pregame warm-up, or he'll attempt to go through a pregame warm-up, and they'll assess where he is. So I think that's kind of what we're looking at here over the course of the next 36 hours, or 39 hours, I guess, between now and game time. There'll be a little bit of information, the first real information other than that he hasn't been practicing. So we'll learn that late tomorrow afternoon, what the team is listing his status as. And as I said before, 4 of the 5 things that they get listed as are pretty self-explanatory and pretty obvious. If there's that one thing that's questionable, then we're going to have to wait until 10:15 on Saturday morning when Jason Kidd has his media availability before we find out some more clarity. And he may even say at 10:15, they don't know yet, that it may be he's going through his warm-up and it's going to be a game time decision. So, to answer your question, Walt, I don't know. And I think anybody who says right now that they do know, that's all just guesswork. I think the Mavs are, hoping for the best. and preparing for the best not to occur. And I don't think there's anything else that you can do other than that.
Thank you, Mark, for clearing it up, because some people think that because Shams Charania put out that Luka was out. I mean, Sham doesn't get it wrong. So I was like, well, I didn't hear that from Coach Kidd today. And I'm trying to figure out how does Sham Charania get Dallas news before Dallas media gets news around here. So that was news to me when he said it. I'll let you ticket guys work that out real quick.
So
Mark,
go ahead.
The thing about the guys like Shams and Woj and things like that is they're connected with agents. So there's probably a lot of information that's coming from there. Obviously, information is being communicated to those guys. By those guys, I mean agents. And then, there's certainly an exchange of information that occurs between agents and reporters. But, my intel from this week is exactly what I told you guys earlier. And that is they don't know. Every body is different in how it's going to respond to the time and the treatment. And that's just kind of where everybody is right now on this thing from the Mavericks perspective. They're hoping for the best, and we'll see what happens come, like I said, tomorrow afternoon and Saturday morning. So I'm not trying to give people a false sense of hope. We'll know more tomorrow afternoon, and we'll know more Saturday morning. And, that's the best I can give you right now.
Got it. Mark Followill says Luka will play on Sunday. Marking it down now.
Mark, I got a two-parter for you, okay? The first part is, I don't know if you remember, but you called the Hardline about last month to do your daily, talk with the Hardline, and I picked up because I was filling as producer, and yet I was so scared when I picked up the phone. You said I was too polite, and is this a prank or something? Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
Yes. Well,
yes. You know what? The funny thing about it is, I was actually going to say something about it on the air, but then the conversation with the guys and
don't worry. When I get mentioned on there, it goes downhill.
We got to get to the break and everything like that. I didn't get to. Was it the day that I was in Philadelphia, right?
I think so, yeah. And then I was filling in for Dan. Well, technically, I was filling in for Danny, who was filling in for Bob. And and listen, I was.
I remember, and I didn't want to bring it up on the air.
No, you shouldn't, because when my name is mentioned on air, it goes down. The ratings go down. We don't want that to happen.
Does the same thing here too.
But part two of my question. All right, everyone's talking about Luka and all that, but let's pretend Luka's not going to play. Let's pretend like Luka's out. He's gone. You're right. What chances are the Mavericks going to have when they face the Utah Jazz without their star player? Can they get it done? Is this a Jazz team they can take advantage of, or are we looking at an uphill battle?
Well, look, it's going to decrease their chances. I mean, I think we all understand that. However, it's not going to render their chances impossible or anything along those lines. So, Dinwiddie will move into the starting lineup. I think that's fairly safe to assume at this point. Nobody's confirmed that, but we saw how they operated this year when Luka was out. Brunson and Dinwiddie started together in the backcourt, and Dinwiddie would start if Brunson was out. So alongside Luka. So we know how this thing is going to go down. Last year Utah lost 2 games after Kawhi Leonard went out of the lineup for the Clippers, if memory serves correctly. So I don't think that there's insurmountable force that is guaranteed to win every game in the series that Luka misses, if in fact he does miss it. So obviously it's going to hurt Dallas. You never want to go into a situation like this without your best player, but guys are always, I'll do things that Harp says on the television broadcast frequently, and that is that, and I'm getting something in my computer that says my internet connection is unstable. Is everything still okay?
We got you. We got you loud and clear.
Okay. All right. So Harp's broadcast frequently, and that is that, excuse me, guys are always looking for an opportunity. And if you're somebody who is going to be elevated from the bench to the starting lineup, or elevated being in the rotation to being in the rotation in a bench role, guys relish those opportunities, especially on this stage. So players can step up and be part of the collective effort to replace the production that is not going to be there again if in fact Luka misses time. So again, I want to be straight up with people. Anybody would understand, of course, it's going to hurt, but is it the end of the series? Well, of course not. It isn't at all.
Voice of the Mavs, right here on DallasOnAir.com. Mark Followill joins us here. Question.
Hey, Hatch, what's up?
As we dissect pretty much, like you said, matchups, as we dissect people on rosters, opposing rosters, as I go down the Utah Jazz roster, and then I was pretty much just going back and reviewing games played at the AAC against the Jazz and on the road against the Jazz, the Mavericks crowd versus the Jazz crowd, there's one name on that roster that pretty much worries me, and he goes by the name of Jordan Clarkson. I don't think that the Mavericks pretty much can. I would say contain the guy, but at the same time, he's a real good third piece for the Jazz. And I did see him with early success against the Mavericks, especially here at the AAC. Could you elaborate a little bit about his game?
Well, he's a great bench scorer. And, even with the down year this year, he was still third in the league in points per game off the bench. And he really is just built for that role. And it's been abundantly clear, I think, whenever you watch him, whenever he came into the league with the Lakers. He just always seems that he's had that vibe of his best role is to come off the bench and get buckets. And, he's capable of carrying a team for stretches, especially whenever he's out there with maybe a group that is 2 or 3 other bench guys and one starter, or a couple of starters and a couple of bench guys, whatever it is. But, look, he's one of several people. And if we're looking at Utah, and especially I'll say this compared to Denver, because that was the 2 matchups that were left at the end of the year, basically for the last 4 or 5 days of the season. And this is getting a little bit away from your question, Tovash, about Jordan Clarkson specifically, but I have somewhere I'm going with this. Denver has the MVP or the reigning MVP and a possible MVP for a second year. We'll see how that all plays out. But Jokic is a fantastic player. But if I look at the balance of Utah's roster, there are more people there that keep me up at night. Mitchell obviously is one. Gobert, Bogdanovich keeps me up at night. Conley is an all-star who worries me. And then another name I would add to the list, of course, would be Jordan Clarkson, because especially if Luka's not playing and Dinwiddie's elevated into the starting lineup, then there's nobody coming off the bench for the Mavs who has that same sort of microwave scoring ability off the bench that Clarkson does. And that means you're going to need a really good collective effort by guys off the bench for the Mavs to be able to kind of match what Clarkson can do single-handedly. So it's a concerning matchup. There's no doubt about that. And his game is one that is problematic because it's a no-fear kind of game. It's a no conscience, a rational confidence, or however you want to describe it. And the guy comes off the bench, and his role is very well defined. He knows what his role is, and he plays it. And that is, I'm here to get buckets. And if he misses a few shots, that's not going to deter him from being willing to take more shots as the game goes on. And when he gets hot, I know his percentage isn't great. It was 32% from 3 this year. But he can be a lethal outside shooter. He's an effective driver. He's got the ability, really, I think, to score all 3 levels. He's a get to the basket, pull up in the mid range, and shoot from 3-point guy when he's got it rolling. So it's a concerning matchup. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
I got a question for you, real quick. We got Mark Followill, play-by-play announcer for the Dallas Mavs. Is that over there at Ballys? They changed the name on it. It's not Fox Sports. It's Ballys now.
Ballys Sports Southwest. Yes, sir.
So, me and EA were talking a few minutes ago about, if we had to, I told him, about Luka playing. If the Mavericks said we're not going to play him the whole series, I would be okay with that because, like Jay Kidd said, if we looked at him, we felt like we were jeopardizing him, and we don't want to do that, and we said we didn't want to play him, I would be okay with that. Would you be okay with something like that if the Mavericks just said, yeah, you know what, it's not worth it. Let's just let him. He's young. We don't want the calf injury to get worse.
Pull the plug on it.
Let's just see what we got.
Nobody has shared any information about the MRI, but let's just say that the MRI showed that there was a pretty, more significant injury than, I don't even want to say that they're letting on. They haven't even let on.
Right.
But if it's a significant calf injury, and there is a threat of re-aggravating it or hurting it more significantly where, that is an injury that's going to have rehab that lingers way into the summer, and who knows how it's going to compromise his ability to come back at the beginning of next year. Yeah, I mean, if I had a crystal ball that told me that it's a pretty significant injury and it was in everybody's best interest for the future to do that, I would understand that. I don't believe that's the case. But if it's in Luka's best long-term interest for him to not do anything in this series and the Mavericks approach things with that level of caution, then I would expect it. I would respect and understand that.
I was telling.
I hope that. I mean, I hope. Look, the bottom line is, though, we all hope that that isn't the case, and not just because of the future, but the here and now. I mean, we hope that this is just a mild calf strain, and it's along the lines of what Woj put out last Sunday night, and what I've heard other individuals mention this week. You know, and this is all sourced information, but the sourced information all kind of says that they don't feel like it's a serious injury. Now, even a non-serious calf injury, as we know, I mean, a lot of guys on Twitter have said this week, and by guys, I mean certified athletic trainers have referred to the fact that a grade 1 strain is still 7 to 10 days. So it can be that kind of injury, but it might still cost him a couple of games in the series. You know, so, but to answer your question, if it's in his best long-term interest, then, you know, I think we all would respect and understand that.
I always love how when a player gets injured in Dallas, everybody wants to send me messages, and they become a Twitter doctor about, oh, it's fine, you know. Oh man, I've seen this injury. I got people sending me YouTube videos of doctors saying how a calf injury works, you know, this and that. But I'm gonna be honest with you, Mark. I said that if Luka doesn't play Game 1, the Mavericks just need to win one here and one in Utah. And hopefully by that time he'll be ready to come back at that point, and we can get this thing closed out and get on to the next round.
Well, look, I love the optimism, man. I support it. Nobody supports optimism more than I do.
I do a lot of front running for the Dallas Mavericks.
Yes, you do.
Hey, look, you know, your point is valid in that, you know, let's just hypothetically say, yeah, if he can't play the first couple of games of the series, then if you can win one of those, and then you hope that he's able to play when you get to Utah, and then you're able to salvage a split up there and get the series back on level terms, and you're playing a best 2 out of 3 series for games 5, 6, and 7, where you have home court advantage, I think we would all probably take that at this point. The one thing I would add to that, however, is that Utah's one of the toughest places to play as a road team in the NBA. Now, their home record, Utah's, was the same as the Mavericks was this year at 29-12. However, the Mavs haven't won there since 2016. There's a lot of players on this team, by the way, who have nothing to do with that. But still, that's just a daunting number. And, you know, makes you understand that going up there and winning is certainly going to be a difficult task. Insurmountable, impossible. No. Memphis won one time in Utah last year, won the first game. Now, Donovan Mitchell didn't play in that game. And then obviously the Clippers won a game against Utah, game 5 of that particular series last year before they finished off the games. So it can be done. And, you know, I think your scenario is one that I can get on board with. I have to miss a couple of games, win one of the 2 here, gets back for Utah, win one of the 2 up there, and then, you know, play a best 2 out of 3 series. But, you know, look, the ideal situation is he's playing Saturday morning, so we'll see.
Yeah, and that record you gave, that was when we had a coach who was gainfully employed by the organization, but he's no longer here.
You don't have to.
Go ahead. Yeah, you can have it.
Anyway, we got Mark Followill here. Thanks, Walt, for that little intro.
I'm sorry.
You brought up Utah in playing there, and I want to note something. You know, there was a stat that came out that Utah, when you just take in the first 3 quarters of their games, they're one of the best teams in the NBA. Yet the fourth quarter is where they have been struggling mightily. And, of course, we're hearing the rumors between Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. They don't get along, blah, blah, blah. Is there something Dallas can do, maybe even with their defensive prowess that they've accomplished this year? Is there something they can take advantage of this Utah team that they can take advantage of? We're going into the fourth quarter. They have a significant edge.
I'm not sure that there's anything specific as it relates to the fourth quarter other than just Dorian Finney-Smith and Reggie Bullock, and, you know, because those are going to be the guys that are going to have a lot of the responsibility of defending Donovan Mitchell. They're going to have to be on point and on their games in those situations. Because as we know, if you watch Utah in late game situations, that's really what a lot of their offense funnels through is Mitchell. You know, so I think that's probably the thing that has to happen in the fourth quarters is that if you're ever going to have a time where your defense is going to be in lockdown mode, it's going to have to be Finney-Smith and Bullock playing really well against Mitchell in the fourth quarters. Everybody else is going to have to stay home on shooters because they do take the second most threes and obviously make the second most threes in the league. So Bogdanovich and Conley are both guys, who were very, very capable three-point shooters. And as we talked about with Clarkson earlier, I know his percentage isn't going to wow anybody at 32% this year, but he can get hot, and he's not going to be deterred by anything that's happened earlier in the game. He's going to be willing to take big shots.
So what would you do with Gobert then? Gobert, a lot of people say that maybe Gobert isn't a bigger threat, but I still worry about, the matchup between him, Dwight Powell, and even Maxi Kleber, who we don't even know about his injury status. Is he going to be fully ready to go for the playoffs? But
I think he will be.
Okay, and
I think Maxi's going to be ready.
And do you think that Gobert will Utah use Gobert more to their advantage in the playoffs?
We're gonna force them to go small. We're gonna
Well,
force them to go small.
I didn't know that you were the coach there. Walt.
Yeah, that's what Coach Kid, that's what our game plan is. We want to get them to have Gobert on the court and say, you know what, let's get another guy in here to hold these guys down, because this guy here is moving a little bit too slow for us.
As far as Gobert in the fourth quarter, look, the thing that slows down Gobert in the fourth quarter is his teammates. It's him not getting the touches and him not getting the ball in fourth quarter situations. Now, I guess the counterpoint to that would be, if you do get him the ball, you've got to get him in a position where it's just a turn and dunk opportunity, because he's not going to operate like an old school big with his back to the basket. So that's why, from a Mavs defensive perspective, that you've got to keep him, as hard as it is, when he's a roller, you just got to keep him from getting catches that are right there at the front of the rim where it's an easy catch and finish, and push him off the sweet spot where he's in a position where he can't operate quite as effectively around the rim. Because if it's a catch within a couple of feet of the rim, as you guys know, it's pretty much curtains at that point. I mean, the dude shot 71% from the floor this year. So that's a problem area. But, Utah just doesn't go to him very much late. And that probably is why they're second in the league with 13 blown fourth quarter leads, or at least a contributor to it.
And you know what, Mark? Just piggybacking off of that, as we've seen Luka crave matchup problems, and of course the switch at the top of the key, which he loves to get the big man on him, just like we saw last year with the Zubac dude in LA. Then he cooked him here. That's what he does. Luka loves to get the big man on him, and so Gobert has a problem with keeping Luka in front of him. Well, without Luka, that creates a disadvantage. And I think that there's no other guy on the team that, that Utah is willing, to pretty much draw the switch on him. I think they'll be more confident if it's anybody but Luka, on the ball handler. So does that game plan work against it as a disadvantage against the Mavericks if Luka is not on the floor when it comes to switching the ball?
Good question. I don't know. We'll see when we get to game one and see how Utah plays it. They still may end up switching, because I think the Mavs are going to continue to look. They're a heavy pick and roll team. They're a heavy, tried to get the ball into the paint. Better at it as the season unfolded, of driving and kicking and getting it to guys for threes. So we know a lot of what the Mavericks offense is. And if Brunson and Dinwiddie are going to be the guys on the floor together, then they're going to be driving the ball a lot. And that means Powell's going to be involved in pick and rolls, or Kleber's going to be involved in pick and pops. And, we still may see switches. The thing about Gobert is, you were talking about Luka matching up against Gobert in a switch situation. Man, I would argue that Gobert is just about as good of a perimeter defender as they have on that team, besides what he can do in terms of guarding the paint. I mean, he moves his feet well for a big guy. Obviously, he's got length. And, the one thing he can't do is guard the perimeter and then cover. And if he's not involved in the play and somebody else is getting beat off the dribble, then, is he going to be able to come back and recover from defending on the perimeter and come from the weak side and be able to block a shot? And that's obviously the struggle for Utah defensively this year, has been that perimeter defense has not been terribly good for them, although they still did end up with the 10th best defensive rating in the league. But I think that just speaks to the tremendous things that Gobert does behind the guys on the perimeter when he's inside to clean things up with paint protection and such. But to answer your question, I'm anxious to see what Utah does defensively. We'll see if they continue to switch pick and rolls, or maybe they start one way and then switch pick and rolls later in the game. A lot of that will probably be how effective they are at keeping Dinwiddie and Brunson out of the lane. If they play them straight up, if they play them in situations where they don't switch on pick and roll coverages, in the early part of the game. If they're having trouble containing them, then maybe they'll go to a switch. Maybe they'll change things up as the game goes along, because that's obviously, I think, a component of all teams in the NBA is you don't give good offensive players the same looks all the time. You vary things up as the game goes along. So I don't have a great answer for you, until we see what happens in game one. And then, I think we'll have a little bit more to go on in terms of what Utah's plan is and what they did and didn't do well and how the Mavs can exploit it.
I got one more thing for you. Some people in the room, some people around the world are giving my guy Maxey a hard time. But I've told these guys, listen, when it comes to Maxey, I just need my guy playing that tough defense and getting those rebounds. I'm not worried about that shot falling right now. And I've told these guys that don't worry. When the time comes, my guy Maxey's going to hit a big shot in these playoffs when the time comes. When his number's dialed up, we're going to hit that big shot based off of our defense. And I call him, I'll get you in a second about our nicknames we got for everybody here. I want to see if you approve of them. But we call Maxey Mr. Telephone Man. When Mr. Telephone Man's rings
I
up.
approve of that.
Yeah, when he rings up, when we ring him up and dial him up, he's going to knock down that big shot for us. And it's going to come off some good defense and some great rebounding here for us in the playoffs.
You know, it's funny. That wasn't even a question. That was just Walt telling you what's going to happen.
Well, the question I had was, what do you feel? I'm sorry. My question, he's right. He's right. How unprofessional of me. What I want to know is, what do you think about Maxey?
There's nothing wrong with a leading statement for your guest to react to.
Thank you. Well, I want to know what are your thoughts on Maxey, how I feel about it, just that defense and getting rebounds and playing tough defense. And that shot, it'll come when it comes, but it's going to come at a big shot in the playoffs.
Well, look, I love your optimism, and so I embrace that, Walt. I'm a fan of the optimism. You're also you've listened to Jason Kidd very well this year, and that's obviously a lot of what Jason said late in the season when Maxey was struggling to shoot the ball, and said we need him to play tough defense and rebound, and that is true. Now, let me look at my notes here real quick. I have it right here. So at our break, Maxey shot 30% from the floor and 19% from the three-point line, and the bottom line is, especially in the NBA playoffs, defenses are good, they're smart, they react very quickly within games and from game to game. You cannot play for a long period of time on offense in the playoffs 4-on-5 and be successful because defenses will start daring you to make a shot and they'll clog up the lane, or they'll, cheat off somebody with a second defender for double teams if that warrants it. And, it's going to be really, really important for him to be a threat on offense. And that doesn't mean that you have to shoot the three-pointer at 40%, but not so much so that, they cheat off of him. And again, you're left in a 4-on-5 situation and the defense is able to take other things away because they're not as concerned about Cleveland on that end of the floor. And the Mavs know that, and he knows that. And so to your point, yes, defense and rebounding is his most important thing, but he's got to be able to hit some shots on at least a semi-consistent level to be a threat, so the defense respects you and it doesn't put you in a compromised position on the offensive end of the floor. And I hope that that big shot you're speaking of comes to pass.
It's coming.
We got Mark Followill, of course, of Ballys Sports Southwest. He's the voice of the Mavericks, and of course, you can catch him on the Tickets post-game show on 96.7, 13 to 10. The Ticket with Justin Montemayor and Brian Damaris. They'll be on the Fishbowl Plaza out there. I will be running the board for it, so it'll be a fun atmosphere. But Mark, I got to ask you this. This is a great series. We're going against Utah. You're going to go down to Salt Lake City, and my most important question is, what is there to do in Utah? As a broadcaster, when you go out there, what is there to do? It's Salt Lake City.
Remember, in Utah, you can have 5 wives.
That's true. Do you want to get an extra wife there? You could do that. But other than that, what do you do in Utah? Like Phoenix, I get it. I get Golden State, but what do you do in Utah?
Drink a lot of Mountain Dew.
Get lucky. That's what you do.
Well, they have great restaurants in Salt Lake City.
Do they?
So, yeah.
What are they known for? What are they known for food-wise?
I don't think that they're necessarily known for anything. They just have different cuisines and such. So
I know they got Poison Pizza there.
I'm sorry?
Poison Pizza. I know they got Poison Pizza.
Oh, because of Michael Jordan. Remember, he had that pizza. He had that bad pizza that got delivered to him.
So there's a place called the Red Iguana that I think is very, very good in Salt Lake City, and it's awesome. If you like mole sauce, they have like 7 different kinds of mole. So that is definitely a place I would be going to in our time up there. And if you're an outdoors person, there's fantastic hiking in the mountains and such. All very, very close to Salt Lake City. You can drive to Park City, and the skiing and the mountain bike riding and the hiking is great there.
So no strip clubs?
Not saying that I'm going to be going skiing or mountain bike riding or anything like that during my time that we're up there on the off day between games 3 and 4, but that's what there is to do in Salt Lake City, man.
No strip clubs?
Person's paradise.
No strip clubs?
So what?
No strip clubs?
So what?
Yeah, good. Yeah, keep ignoring that. Don't confirm or deny that what he's asking. Real quick, Mark.
I'm sure there are establishments of that sort there as well.
Before we let you go, I want to run you down. First off, I must give your flowers. A lot of people think that we created a nickname, but we didn't create it. You actually created it. I want to give you your flowers for it. That's Step Back Jack. I don't know if you know this, but we do, me and my buddy Kendrick, we do a Mavs post-game show over on YouTube. And we have nicknames from everybody. We've incorporated Step Back Jack. But I want I want people to know we did not create that. Mark Followill is the creator of Step Back Jack.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. And, things that people say are out there for everyone to use. Right. So I'm flattered that you're using that. Thank you.
And we call Dorian Finney Swish, we call him Finney Swish, especially when he's knocking those threes.
I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility that, I'm going to hear one of these and maybe they're going to make their way into a television program.
Right.
Well, do the best one.
What's that?
Dinwiddie.
Finney Swish is good, dude.
Yeah, Finney
I like that a lot.
Depot, we call him, Dwight Powell, we call him Depot 7. Dinwiddie. We have 2. We have hashtag Winwitty, but our most big one that's blowing up is hashtag Dinwiddie with it. That's what we do every time he hits a 3.
Dinwiddie with it.
Dinwiddie with it, and we play the Will Smith Get Jiggy with it, and
that is controversial now post Oscars. Yeah,
we're doing. Yeah, well, that was before the Oscars, but it's taking over. Whenever Dinwiddie hits a 3, everybody still will send me and my buddy Kendrick hashtag Dinwiddie with it after he hits a 3.
There we go, Cat.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
With it. That's good.
Yeah, and Trey, we also incorporated Trey.
So let's have a little. These aren't necessarily nicknames, but along those lines. So I love Finney Swish.
Yeah,
and that would be a good one to work in. Sometimes with Dwight Powell, I don't necessarily. There's no nickname.
We call him
when
Depot.
He slams, I like to say Kapow.
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that.
Yeah, Kapow. That's fun. I think that the most fun I've had with anything with Dinwiddie this year is I'm giddy for Dinwiddie, or I'm giddy about Dinwiddie, or something along those lines whenever he does something really cool. When Jalen does something, I need to say that the vibes are immaculate a little bit more often because, that's something that he says so much. So I need to work that in. I don't know why. It's been suggested to me over the years, and I just never think of it at the time. But when he gets hot, calling him the Brunson burner.
Yeah, that's what we.
Well, didn't Pizza Hut do that?
Did Pizza Hut call him the Brunson burner?
Like, didn't they call it a special the Brunson burner? Like, I remember.
Oh yeah, you know what? I think you're right.
Yeah. They did like a special for him.
I'm not 100% sure on that, but that sounds
okay.
That
And then we call Josh Green. We call him J Money Green.
Okay. This is your show. I'm sorry, I took away from it's not my nicknames. It's your.
No, we want
to hear yours.
We also incorporated Trey. We've incorporated Trey too. I'll give you that one too. We incorporated Trey.
Thank you. So, that's fun. I actually asked. I talked to. He's such a delightful person to talk to. He's a really, really good interview. And I remember sitting with him and talking earlier this year, and I said, well, I like when you get into games because whenever you do, I can say something to Trey. And he goes, yeah, man, I heard about that. I like that. So,
okay.
Who does more nicknames? Who does more nicknames when we have like a great call, you or Coop?
Probably me.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you both
I would assume so. When I listen to Coop, I don't hear Coop doesn't do very many nicknames.
No,
when I listen to Chuck,
very professional.
Yeah. But you know what's funny? You both have this. I love both y'all's excitement voice. Like, because I try to imitate. I suck at it, as you know. I'm a third-rate broadcaster, but when I try to imitate you guys, my voice cracks because I can't get that. I can't. I just can't do it. But you guys, that's why you guys get paid the big bucks.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate that, and I will tell you guys what everybody when it comes to rule number 1 of Followill broadcasting, and Coop might say it a little bit differently. You know, Coop's a little, a much more worldly educated guy than I am, and is better with language than I am. So I have to say it this sort of uncouth way. But rule number 1 of Followill broadcasting is if I don't sound like I give a shit about the game that I'm doing, then how can I expect the person at home on the couch to give a shit about the game?
Damn right. Damn right.
That's why we came up with these nicknames because of you. So I told you, Max, we got Mr. Telephone Man and Tim.
I like that a lot too, man.
And Tim Hardaway, we call him 3 the Hardaway. 3 the Hardaway is what we got for him.
Well, he probably won't need his call for a while.
Yeah, we haven't got to do that much this season, but 3 the Hardaway, when he's knocking down those threes, it's 3 the Hardaway. Hashtag 3 the Hardaway when he's got it going.
Yeah, I like that. We've had some fun with some stuff with him over the years. Last year, he was hot at one point in time during a game. And I think Stan and I were joking about this and talking about maybe he's going to get a street named after him if he keeps doing this. And then we said, oh, yeah, Hardaway way, like that. Yeah. So we had some fun with that. The thing I like to say sometimes when Tim gets rolling is, well, Hart says, he gets hotter than fish grease, which is really good. But the thing that I like to say is that his middle name is Dwayne. Okay. And he spells it the same way that I do. My middle name is Dwayne, D-U-A-N-E. So so Dwayne, we have to stick together. So when he gets hot, I like, it's a 3 by Timothy Dwayne Hardaway Jr. I like giving it the full name at that point. So
I like that. I like it. Very distinguished.
I hope that we get I hope we get a long enough Mavs playoff run to see him back out.
Yeah, I feel like Frank Ntilikina, we call him Frankie Nuggets.
Frankie Nuggets, okay.
Yeah,
I have not heard that one.
Yeah, that's what we call him.
I like that one. I think he needs. What is it about the name Frank that automatically makes people? Because I do it too in the telecast when he hits shots. Sometimes I say, hey, it's a 3 by Frankie Ntilikina. Why do people always want to call Frankie? I mean, that is like just as old as time. I feel like that's the way it is.
Because any other way, it sounds weird. You can't call him Francis.
It's like very mobster.
The thing was is that he came. I think people were calling him Frankie Cigarettes, and he said he didn't like that. So I said, well, no. When he's distributing that ball, he's dropping those nuggets off. Those are nuggets right there. So Frankie Nuggets.
That's right.
That's what I call it.
By the way, just for the record, I think what people call him in New York was Frankie Smokes.
It was Frankie Smokes. That's what I couldn't remember cigarettes or smokes. I thought it was Frankie Cigarettes.
Well,
I think they went with a little kinder, gentler way to say it.
Will nothing ever beat Tall Baller from the G?
That's like an all-timer, man.
That has to be like your number. That's like your GOAT of your calls, right? It has to be.
Well, I didn't come up with that though. I mean,
but you said it plenty of times. Everyone says it, but you like. So then, what would your number 1 be? What's your number 1 call? Your number 1 nickname call? What would it be? Maybe I'm putting you on the spot here.
The greatest, I can tell you that one. Call. Well, I'll say the greatest tribute video ever done by Mark Followill was Dirk's when Dirk was leaving. Still to this day, I watch that sometimes.
The open letter to Dirk. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's the greatest. That's the greatest goodbye video ever seen. Tribute video ever seen in my life.
I think there was one the Chicago game. I think I heard you did really well on that one. That game.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that was the big comeback. Whenever we had to somehow find a way to stop Nate Robinson from looking like Allen Iverson. I always liked that calling Brandon Wright. As far as nicknames go, I was always happy that we came up with the right stuff for Brandon Wright. Yeah. Whenever he would slam it, you'd say, like the right stuff. I know that's kind of an older movie from the 80s about the astronauts, but that one was nice. I like that one. And some of these things, like sometimes thought goes into it, and sometimes just a wild ass thought comes into my head, like on the spur of the moment, and I try things. And sometimes they flop, and sometimes they work, and it's just you're always workshopping, and you're always trying to not settle into patterns and try different things. I'm never afraid to kind of put myself, try something a little bit different, a little bit new, because I think you always got to be evolving as the years go along. So
well, you're talented.
That's one that I think back on that I'm happy that we came up with.
Well, I just want to say you're very talented what you do. I also want to notice that you're really popular now. Did you know you're on a Watch Mojo video on YouTube? Like they used a clip of you. I don't know what the thing was, but it was the top 10 broadcaster moments or something. And I think it was more about who you were, your play-by-play, your color announcers. But
Yeah,
they
I know
showed
what you're
you.
talking about.
But they showed you on Watch Mojo. I was like, Mark Followill's blowing up.
So the backstory of that is I was with Alexi Lawless and we were doing an MLS game for Fox Sports 1.
Right.
And I think we were in Seattle, and it was in 2017 when the United States was very touch and go whether or not they would qualify for the World Cup in 2018, which of course they did not end up doing. But at the time, that was still in doubt. There was still maybe another 3 or 4 games left to play in qualifying. And Alexi Lawless went on a rant. And it was just sort of me just sitting there. It was his segment. And so it was me just sitting there watching him go on a rant. And since it's his segment, my whole thought was, well, don't do anything to draw attention to yourself. This is his time, not my time. So I'm just supposed to I'm the traffic cop. I just wave you through the intersection. Come on now and speed through this intersection and do whatever you're going to do. And
I just thought
that was pretty memorable. And I think the meme that people were sending me afterwards was that it was like Mike Myers and Kanye on Saturday Night Live.
It did look like a little bit. And I was watching, and I'm just sitting there. It's in the background. I just turn around. I'm like, why is Mark Followill on WatchMojo.com? I'm like, what are you doing on a YouTube channel? But it was just fun to see a person that we admire getting that famous for that. So
even though I didn't really do anything other than sit there and stare at Alexi while he was on his rant.
You made an impression, though. That's what
Mark Followill.
It's just good to be in the right place at the right time, I guess.
Mark Followill, we want to thank you for joining us real quick. Do you have a prediction for Saturday morning's game against the Utah Jazz?
Well, I'm a pretty shitty predictor, generally speaking.
I think we go to Dub City. I think we're going to Dub City.
Man, look, it's our first home game.
Yeah.
First home game won.
Right.
First time we've had home court advantage in a series since 2011, the Western Conference Finals against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Regardless of who is or isn't available, I think the crowd's going to be nuts. I think Utah is going to get revisited by some of their fourth quarter demons, and it may look but something's going to happen in the fourth quarter, and they're going to have effort, and the crowd's going to help at the top. So let's say I was winning game 1. How about that?
Yes.
Yeah, I
like
like
it. Okay.
I like it. Mark Followill, thank you. I'm pretty sure we'll see a lot of you on Saturday morning. Like you said, you're going to be EA. Where are they going to be?
They're on 96.7, 13 to 10, the ticket right after the game for the Mavericks post-game show. And, of course, you will see them as you walk from the AAC because they'll be in the Fishbowl Plaza thing. And, enjoy.
I see Tomash out there by Hero.
Yeah, that's
so
what
I'll see you on Saturday.
Would you like to confirm or deny the allegation, Bosh?
I'm out there sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
It's not all the time.
Yeah.
Just a couple of times. So.
Mark Followill, can't wait to listen to you guys on the call. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you Saturday morning, bright and early, sir.
Thanks. Great to chop it up with you guys and keep up the great work on your show. Appreciate it.
Love you, Followill.
Thank you, Mark Followill. That is Mark Followill, play-by-play announcer for the Dallas Mavericks, a.k.a. Ballys Southwest, and 96.7,
1310, the ticket.
The ticket?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Put respect on that name.
You guys win.
Put some Marconi.
Macaroni? Okay, Marconi. Okay.
And when that other station starts winning someone, then you can talk. But until then.
I mean, I'm only concerned about DallasOnAir.com. That's all I concern myself with. That's what we do here.
Just saying.
Let's